Hey, the British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak wants to bring back mandatory national service in the UK if he is re-elected in July. This proposal affects the lives of every man in Britain of military age, meaning 18-year-olds. Mr. Sunak says he is even looking forward to his daughters doing national service.
Hi TikTok, sorry to be breaking into your usual politics-free feed, but I'm making a big announcement today and I've been told that a lot of you already have some views on it. So, first thing, no, I'm not sending everyone off to join the army. What I am doing is proposing a bold new model of national service for 18-year-olds.
Rishi Sunak suggests two options. By 2025, all 18-year-olds will be required to complete a 12-month full-time military stint or serve in other weekend placements in the fire or police service, the NHS or charities tackling loneliness.
They'll be able to choose to spend 12 months in a full-time military commission or 1 weekend per month volunteering in roles within your local community, like delivering prescriptions and food to elderly people or in search and rescue.
All 18-year-olds will be compelled to take part by law and there will be sanctions for those who don't comply. The Home Secretary James Cleverly stated that no one will be sent to prison for failing to complete the national service. However, some ministers have suggested that punishment for not participating could include the individual's parents being fined. Meaning, if your son doesn't go to serve, the government will punish you.
Well, what we have seen recently is a fracturing, more and more young people particularly, not exclusively, but particularly, living their lives in bubbles, isolated from their peers, mixing only with people from similar circles to their own. And what we want to do is find a way of bringing people together. It's a way of, binding us as a nation, as a society, investing in those young people and addressing this worrying trend towards fragmentation.
Those who do take part will have to decide whether they are taking the military or non-military route. The military route will see them take part in a 12-month paid placement, but there will be only 30,000 of these placements available. The non-military route will see them take part in an unpaid volunteering role 1 weekend a month for 12 months.
This will give all young people valuable life skills, make our country more secure, and build a stronger national culture. Plus, people will receive best-in-class training in critical skills from cyber to civil engineering and leadership.
In total, the policy is expected to cost the taxpayers £2.5 billion, when £1.5 billion coming from the UK's Shared Prosperity Fund and another £1 billion coming from plans to crack down on tax avoidance and evasion. The last time national service was mandatory in the UK was in the 1960s. Back then, the men between the ages of 17 and 21 had to serve in the armed forces for 18 months. This law was introduced in 1947 by Labour Prime Minister Clement Attlee. However, this time the Labour Party has been far more critical of the proposed policy, describing it as desperate and unfunded.
It's an expensive gimmick. Again, the Conservatives are making pledges without any idea where the money is going to come from. That is deeply irresponsible. And with me as Chancellor, all of the policies that I put forward will always be fully costed and fully funded. I will never play fast and loose with the public finances.
The plan aims to unite society but has grown skepticism. Critics call it costly and gimmicky, especially given recent details of such plans. Plus, doubts persist about its impact on young people, given the government's credibility issues. Especially that just a few days before the announcement of the new plan, Tories assured that they wouldn't bring back mandatory national service. While it's part debate, concerns arise about fairness, with wealthier families likely opting for volunteering, while poorer ones may feel pressured into military service due to financial constraints.
Young people need opportunity. They need to be able to have good, well-paid jobs. And the system as it has been proposed today, as I've read it, is that you can either do the mandatory national service, for which military service, for which you would be paid, or you can do unpaid voluntary work 1 weekend a month. Now, there is a clear divide there in terms of which demographic young people will go towards each one. Well-off children who don't need to earn the money, who come from backgrounds where their families will be able to support them, will of course choose to do the mandatory volunteering 1 weekend a month, whereas those from poorer backgrounds will have no option.
Supporters argue it could instill values and patriotism, but the opponents question its practicality and funding sources.
My think tank Onward has also found that 57% of younger generations find they are less patriotic than older generations as well. And 1 in 5 are economically inactive. And all those things need to be challenged through a wide range of policy things, be it through housing, being through better economy, but having some kind of national service element to it, I think, is really important.
Beyond the political debate, there is a deeper issue at play here. The idea of national service harks back to a time when such programs were commonplace and seen as a rite of passage for young adults. I agree that serving in the army could help to instill some good values and skills and train the body. But I'm not sure about patriotism, because this is a deep feeling of belonging and love for your country. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that increasing or building patriotism works differently. You can't force someone to be patriotic, but you can create such conditions where people want to be patriotic. You can't force someone to love their country, but increasing the level of life for people, you can make them feel patriotic and they want to protect it. Of course, you can cite the famous quote from John Kennedy, "Ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country."
And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country.
But on the other hand, there are Nelson Mandela's words. You can't force people to love their country. You have to make it so that they would love it. And we can't make the first quote work without the second one. It's like in the relationship. Both partners should work on the relationship. Otherwise, one will get tired, give up, and leave. The same could happen here in the UK. If the level of life gets worse, more and more British people will leave their country and move somewhere else. GB News host Tom Howard stated that state-mandated volunteering isn't volunteering at all. It is conscription. It is illiberal. It is everything this country stands against. Opponents raise valid concerns about coercion and inequity. Will those from disadvantaged backgrounds be disproportionately affected or forced into service due to limited options? And what about the logistic? How will the government ensure adequate resources and support for participants?
Well, most military leaders will tell you the last thing they want is a bunch of reluctant recruits that have been forced to be there. The government really hasn't spelled out how much this is properly going to cost, where the extra barracks are going to come from, how we're going to feed these recruits.
Furthermore, there is the issue of societal impact. Will mandatory service genuinely bridge gaps and promote unity? Or could it intensify existing inequalities and divisions? What are the wider implications for democracy and individual freedom? I'm not a political expert and don't know if this strategy will help the Tories get more votes in future elections. But we have to use common sense and understand that forcing someone to do something is not a great way to earn love and respect. Please don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that serving in the army is a bad thing, quite the opposite. It's a proud profession for brave people, and the UK needs more of them, especially now when the Russian president is threatening Britain and other countries for helping Ukraine.
Это делают британцы, значит. Вот и все. Что мы должны делать в ответ? Первое. Мы, конечно, будем совершенствовать наши системы ПВО. Будем их уничтожать. Второе. Мы думаем на тему о том, что если кто-то считает возможным поставлять такое оружие в зону боевых действий для нанесения ударов по нашей территории и создания проблем для нас, то почему у нас нет права поставлять наше оружие такого же класса в те регионы мира, где будут наноситься удары по чувствительным объектам тех стран, которые делают это в отношении России? То есть ответ может быть асимметричным. Мы над этим подумаем.
Everyone is afraid that a third world war could happen, and we never know, maybe humanity is that foolish and a global war is possible. Every country is trying to prepare as much as it can, and perhaps that's why the Tories decided to bring back mandatory national service in the UK, to have more trained and prepared people who could stand against the enemy if needed. However, I think that this is also part of their strategy to earn some votes for future elections. They are desperately trying to stay afloat and keep power in their hands. But as I hear everywhere, people aren't happy with this political party, and voters want positive changes. That's why I truly doubt that bringing back national service will help Mr. Sunak win the next elections. But who knows? Everything could happen. Anyway, these are complex issues that require careful consideration and robust debate. Although the concept of national service may be promising, its implementation must be thoughtful and inclusive, considering the diverse needs and perspectives of all stakeholders. The country needs more trained and skilled individuals, yet compulsory service might not be the solution. Instead, improving conditions and salaries in the army could encourage more people to volunteer. In this way, the country would have soldiers who truly wish to serve. I can't understand the benefits of mandatory national service. If there is a war, every country wants as many qualified soldiers as possible, who know how to properly use different weapons and fight. And recent events in the world prove that anything could happen. So every country wants to be prepared just in case. But on the other hand, I can't understand the youngsters who have to put their lives on pause and go serve the state for a whole year, leaving behind their families and friends while feeling that the state isn't doing its bit for them, for example in making housing affordable. I don't know, but this doesn't seem like the best plan. This is a very controversial topic. So what's your take on this? Please share your thoughts below and don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel. Bye!